Hello and welcome to the BA News Show. Thank you for joining us, what hopefully will be an informative piece about the news. Before we get going, Tabs, what have you been playing this week?
Not a great deal, to be honest.
Boo!
I've looked at The Tourist on my Switch and tempted to dive in, but I resisted, so I have to say it's been a non-game week this week. But that's what it is. Oh, and my cat's just joined the show, Rich, just so you're aware.
Excellent.
What about you, mate? What have you been playing?
Really tried to cram a lot of Gran Turismo in this week. Gran Turismo Sport, playing online, really just trying to get better at it. Simple as that. Seemingly some improvements. I actually did some real life karting this week on Monday. So that really spurred me on to crack on with some Gran Turismo, and yeah, it's good fun.
You podiums really in real life, did you?
Yes, came third in the, I did a 50 lap endurance race, came third in that. That was good fun. And then I subsequently had a podium, I think the next night, came third in a race in Gran Turismo. So yeah, good fun. So
we might slowly become a Super GT-like channel over the next few months as you get more and more into it.
Trust me, we won't, because I'm terrible.
I doubt that. Anyway.
So, what have we got for you on the news this week? So, we've got Nintendo recently trademarking some titles. We've got PS4 versus Xbox Series X sort of comparison, how they differ. Some bit of leaked details there. Some Breath of the Wild 2 information, which I'm really excited to tell you about. And then we're just going to tell you about some PlayStation Plus games that are coming up next month. So, Tabs, take us away with Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a bit of a non-event really, but essentially Nintendo have renewed trademarks on nearly, I think, 40 titles. I pulled this from Metro, I think, this piece of news. Thanks, Kitty. So essentially, yeah, there's a broad range there and some big games actually. It's quite exciting if you look into it. We've got a number of different Zelda games. One that's been doing the rounds and has been rumoured as a potential port for the Switch is Eternal Darkness, which I don't know if you recall, Rich, but it was
nice.
I think it was a GameCube game, yeah. It was a survival horror GameCube game, very unique. I'd love to see a port of that, but Golden Sun as well is in there. Ooh. There's some big titles and some peripheral ones as well. But yeah, I mean, what does this mean? Renewing 40 trademarks at once seems like a very peculiar thing to just be, you know, something... Unless somebody's completely forgot to renew these trademarks and they've suddenly gone, oh, blimey, we need to get onto this as like a defensive legal manoeuvre, then... I
mean, let's face it, ultimately this could literally be... Because if you don't renew a trademark, somebody else could potentially take that trademark. So if they didn't renew, for argument's sake, Mario, then someone could trademark Mario, or Mario Kart, say, and then make a game called Mario Kart. So it's important to have your legal ducks in a row, so to speak. So it literally could be that, or it could be a massive wave of games coming in the next few years.
You've got to protect your intellectual property, haven't you, at the end of the day?
Absolutely.
So it could just be that, but, you know, in a slow news week, chasing shadows in the gaming industry means jumping to conclusions about the tiniest speck of evidence.
Absolutely.
So there we go.
So we will have to wait and see what happens on that one, I think.
Yeah.
Whether it means bigger things, I don't know.
Surely a Nintendo Direct can't be too far away. So hopefully we won't have to wait too long. So.
Absolutely. So moving us on. So we've had this PS5 has been touted as having more power in terms of performance than the Xbox Series X. And this comes from an industry insider called, is it Tidux, Tabs?
Tidux, I would say.
Tidux, okay. Yeah. On Twitter, and he has actually claimed that while the CPU of the PS5 and the Series X will be fairly equal, the PS5 will have significantly more RAM and a much better SSD. And there's some weight to the fact that Sony are obviously very pleased with the SSD that they've managed to cram into the PS5, because that's the one of the things they've really spoken about in some of their things. So yeah, and that package, more RAM, faster SSD, that is going to make it so that the performance of the PlayStation 5 outweighs the Xbox Series X.
The interesting thing though, in the same, I think this was a tweet he put out there on Twitter, in the same tweet he also mentions that the Series X GPU, which we understand is going to be using the same architecture as the PS5's GPU, is more powerful by about, he says the difference of about 1 teraflop. So it's a strange one that he can say, well, the GPU in the Xbox Series X is more powerful, but the PS5 has better RAM and SSD, and overall, on balance, that means better performance for the PS5. Surely the GPU is by far and away the most important component when it comes to performance. I'm not sure.
Well, this is the thing though, that is the scenario until you start bottlenecking your RAM and your CPU. As soon as they can't keep up with the graphics card, your system is limited by the CPU and the RAM. So it might be what they're saying is, by having a better CPU and RAM, they're able to get the card, which if you put them in a supercomputer, the Xbox Series X graphics card would be more powerful, but actually because of the additional RAM and SSD and maybe some of the things they're doing with the CPU architecture, it can harness more of the power of the GPU and give an overall better performance. Yeah,
this is it. There might be some, digging down into the metal, as they say, in the PS5 GPU, and maybe this 1 teraflop is, in actuality, nothing to write home about. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm not too sure on the background of Tidux and exactly what his credence is as a leaker or industry insider, but this was, reported on Tech Radar, so, it's got to have some weight to it to gain a headline in a pretty big publication.
They obviously think there's some weight there, otherwise they wouldn't have put it out there. So yeah, it's interesting.
Unless, again, like us, they are chasing shadows in the gaming industry. So what we got next, Rich?
So, Breath of the Wild 2 leak. Now, probably one of the most exciting pieces of news we've had for a while, really, provided this information is legit and not all just a load of made-up stuff. But what have we got? So, Breath of the Wild 2 leak coming some point in the future. We're hoping this year. We think this year, if you've seen some of our other videos. So, reported on by 2 French websites, first by Nintendo Town and then by France's major gaming site, Jeux Video. The rumours reportedly originate on Reset Era and details a ton of stuff about the game and what we're going to come, basically. So, what have we got first, Tabs?
So, apparently, Zelda will be playable in some sections of the game. They make the comparison that it will be similar to Ciri in The Witcher 3. So that's interesting. We talked about that before a little bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
Bit of a character swap mechanic, but of course Link will remain the main playable character. So, go on.
See, I think there's a good... even if this hadn't been leaked, I think there's a good chance that we would have thought this was probably going to happen. She's been in the trailer for the game, which suggests she's a significant character within the game. So I think whether this leak is genuine or not, I think there's a good chance that is genuine.
I've not played The Witcher 3, so I don't know exactly what they're referring to with that. But, yeah, maybe if they are separated into 2 separate realms, if you like, well, it makes sense that you're going to flip-flop between those 2, doesn't it? Playing as Link and Zelda, so that will be interesting. What have we got next then? We've got standalone DLC for Breath of the Wild 2 that apparently is going to be focused on Zelda, is allegedly under discussion at Nintendo. So again, at least they're planning ahead. We got some DLC with the first Breath of the Wild, and it's going to be Zelda focused, which is quite interesting.
I do think in the world we live in now, so we live in this world where everyone's equal, gender, sexuality. Why is it always that the male is the lead character in most of these games? There are some exceptions, so I think this would be a great move to have Zelda have her place in the sun, so to speak, on this game and have her as the main protagonist. So I think this is a great idea.
I think they've moved on, haven't they? Or they're trying to. Zelda is certainly wasn't the helpless princess that she may have been in previous games in Breath of the Wild. And you know, hopefully, well, from what we've seen from her character design in the trailer we have seen, she looks a bit more, you know, practically clothed and ready for action, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we're going to see like the Aloy of Horizon Zero Dawn, and Zelda's going to take that limelight and yeah, kick some ass. I'd love to see it. It'd be a nice mix-up.
Absolutely. So as a result of the cataclysmic events that were teased in the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, the world has been massively changed. So it's set in the same world, but it's completely changed. Parts of the world are in the sky even, almost as if parts of the map have just been sucked out, leaving these huge craters behind that are scattered all over the world. Some of these are full of water, and there's a much bigger emphasis on navigation, which is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that for a minute makes you think Wind Waker, doesn't it? You know, how big are these bodies of water? But yeah, I mean, we did see the castle, didn't we, ascend into the heavens at the end of the trailer, so it fits. You know, it sounds like it could very well be the case. We didn't see any other pieces of land go up, though, with it, did we?
No.
But again, if we're thinking maybe there's a Sky Realm, maybe, you know, could that be where Zelda is? And then Link's having to, you know, traverse the base level Hyrule. Hard to say at this stage, but certainly it sounds interesting.
One of the best things about the game was the open world, wasn't it? That was the thing we loved. You could go anywhere, you could do anything. And actually, if they break that down and make it seem less open world because of these craters that are almost impassable, and that you've got to properly navigate around the world, and your job is to bring the world back together, then I think that's a cool story. You know, we love the world, so we would want to rebuild it.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. And just to have that sense of change over time, and, you know, it brings a sort of kinetic quality, doesn't it, to the gameplay when you can see meaningful... It's like Tarrytown. Tarrytown in the first game, you know, literally built from the ground up. Spoiler alert. But too late. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's nice to see that in a game, isn't it? That you can have a real influence over it. So yeah, sounds fantastic. And the last piece of information, Rich, well, it says apparently climbing has been overhauled in Breath of the Wild 2. So there's more of a focus on timing and balance of the characters' players, which is an interesting way to word that, isn't it?
I'm not sure what to make of this particular piece. What does that mean? What does it mean?
Timing? I mean, I suppose, because you had to be... All you had to worry about before was a stamina bar, essentially, wasn't it? And you could get...
And rain.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's just more strategic then. They're making it deeper. So it's not as easy to just go and climb everything in the world whenever you want to. Which might help to, you know... fleshing out the gameplay a little bit, a bit more Death Stranding-esque, you might say.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't become like almost like an on-rails, Uncharted, Tomb Raider scenario climbing sequences where it's like a sequence you're just moving through a sequence basically, rather than... The thing I liked about Breath of the Wild was you literally could climb pretty much everything. And you could climb any way, anyhow, I liked that about it. So I sort of hope in some respects they've added something new but kept it very familiar. Yeah,
this is it. They can't, they've got to reinvent it and they've got to keep it fresh for players to come back to. But at the same time, we don't want them to go too far off piste, do we? And turn it into, an unrecognisable Breath of the Wild game. But yeah, at least we're getting something. Again, pinch of salt territory with all of this stuff, but at least it's something to think about, something to feed the imagination while we wait.
Absolutely. And we would just like to finish by pointing you guys in the direction of February's releases on the PlayStation Plus, for those that are on PlayStation Plus. So what have we got coming in February? Well, the VR title Firewall 0 Hour is included, which for anyone that's got a headset, they'll really enjoy that. But I think more interestingly, and certainly for, certainly probably for Tabsies, but certainly some games that I really like, the 3 BioShock games will also be coming to PlayStation Plus, and The Sims 4.
It's interesting. Do you think that's a bit of a shots fired from Sony to Nintendo? Because if it is coming to the Switch, that kind of pisses all over their parade a little bit, doesn't it? To put it bluntly.
Well, it does, but you can't play your PlayStation 4 on the train. So
this is true. This is true.
Like I sort of, it does and it doesn't, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure this will have been a reaction to the fact that BioShock is coming to the Switch, because it's not 5 minutes to bring a new game to PlayStation Plus. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. People who missed out on these games will have an opportunity to play them now, so that's amazing. So yeah.
I would say though, BioShock is that sort of rich atmospheric experience that is really worth playing in, you know, a surround sound, big TV, dark room setup. As much as I'd love to play it on the Switch, and I'm excited about that as well. It's one of those games that I think the PS4 is going to do justice to. So yeah, pick it up if you can. And essentially, well, that's 5 games for free this February. So
yeah, basically for what is it, $6.99? Is it a month?
I'm not entirely sure what it is.
Bargain.
Yeah, really good. You know, three decent games there in BioShock, and not too sure about The Sims 4 and Firewall 0 Hour, but you know, fill your boots while you can.
Absolutely. So that is it for this week's news. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, give us a like. It really helps grow and support the channel. And if you're not already, please do subscribe and click that bell for notifications to stay abreast of all our new content. And I think that's all we've got time for. Another one for the archive.
Stamped and completed.